All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the USD290 Board of Education meeting. It is April 26th, 2021 at 7 p.m. We will do a roll call. Linda Alderman.
Present.
Chris Cunningham.
Present.
Julie Dandrio, present. Susan Moore.
Present.
She's here virtually. Shanda Olmstead.
Present.
Lydia Payne.
Present.
And Harold Wingert is currently absent. So we have 6 members present. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So move.
All in favor, please raise your hand. That passes 6-0. We are down to the consent agenda. Did you have something, Dr.
Yeah,
Cobbs?
there are 2 items on the consent agenda, that I want to bring your attention to. The Chromebook purchase is contingent upon availability of ESSER funds. It's a large expense. I want to make sure that we don't take it out of our capital project. So we're going to wait a little bit. We'll approve it, but then take it out of ESSER funds when they become available. The other thing is with the neighborhood revitalization resolution. They were supposed to send me a map of the new boundaries. They have not done so yet. So if you feel so compelled that you want to take it off the consent agenda, it's fine to take it off until we see the map. But I think for the most part, the map is just inclusive of more areas that they could do so. I don't think it's going to impact us greatly. But I'll leave that in your hands if you want to pull it off the agenda.
All right, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the presented consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Perfect. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 6-0 as well. We do not have any comments from the public this evening, so we'll move on to section 5.01. Dr. Cobbs is going to present a thank you from all of us for Toshiba for a generous donation that they had given for the STEAM bus.
Yeah, so we have a great partnership with Toshiba, and Lyndon Jordan's the local guy that takes care of us with a lot of things. And he came in with Brian Williams about a month and a half or so ago and met with Dean, and you could tell that they were both really excited about something and handed us a check for $2,000 specific to the STEAM bus. They're super excited about the project and what we're doing there, and we just wanted to be able to send out a public thank you to Brian and to Lyndon and to the entire Toshiba team for all of their support, for recognizing amazing things that our kids do, and helping foster the learning that's taking place within that STEAM bus, and being a part of that team when it's done and completed, and being able to maneuver through our community, celebrate learning in a mobile environment. So thank you to Toshiba, specifically to Brian and Lyndon, but the entire company of Toshiba as well.
All right, thank you, Dr. Cobbs, and yes, the board certainly appreciates you bringing that point publicly for that thank you. All right, we are moving on to section 6.01. We had a presentation last time about the trap shooting club, and tonight we will discuss whether we approve that trap shooting club. And I would like one clarifying item before we look for a motion on this item. This is a different type of partnership as opposed to a typical club, right?
Yes.
Dr. Cobbs, just give us a brief.
Yeah. Really, the only thing that the board is approving tonight is to allow an outside entity access to our logo and to compete as Ottawa High School or Ottawa Middle School students. We do not participate or support in any other fashion from a liability sense. So really, this is Rod and Season are doing some amazing things, and they're gonna help foster a lot of young kids in this process. But really all we're providing them is the ability to utilize our logo and the ability to start a team under the moniker of Ottawa High School Cyclones or Ottawa Middle School Whirlwinds.
Thank you. Is there someone that would like to make a motion to approve the trap shooting club at OHS OMS?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 7-0. Harold Wingert is here now. We are now 7. All right, next we have our curriculum update by from Mrs. Bybee. Last time she did give us her recommendations for curricular purchases, which totaled $54,122.71 plus miscellaneous shipping costs. Did you have anything new to give us this time, Mrs.
No,
Bybee?
just to clarify that the gifted items do not have a quote that go along with them because they will be purchased separately. So if approved with what was presented last time on those items that Mrs. Watkins presented to you, that we would order those separately through Amazon, basically.
All right, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the curricular recommendations totaling $54,122.71?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 7-0 as well.
Thank you very
Ms.
much.
Bybee.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work and for the staff that also worked really hard to develop this.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Mr. Grell, are you going to join us for this part here? We are looking at the E-rate commitment and the project at OMS.
I'll try to keep this pace up.
Absolutely, please do.
We got 2 funding commitment decision letters from USAC for our E-rate projects. One is our every year annual Category 1 internet funding. They are paying $23,000 of the $28,000 that we pay for internet access every single year. That happens every single year. We expect that one. We rely on that one. It's based off of our free and reduced numbers. Category 2 is the second one we kind of gone back and forth with, the project at the middle school, the rewiring project. We have all of our final numbers in. We have all of our final approvals in. The one thing that's not included within the scope of the project is removing the cable from the building. The government won't pay for that. My team did it at the high school when the entire ceiling was exposed and you just cut wires and pulled them out. It was really easy. We don't have that luxury at the middle school because they won't be demoing the ceiling itself. They're just pulling all the cables out of existing channels, J-hooks, down the wall. It's a lot more work. Their cost for that they've quoted us is $21,200 to add on to our required portion of $20,583 for a total spend of us of $51,783. That's my math. There you go. $41,783 would be our portion for this $123,000 project.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Grell? I know we discussed this before. Would anyone like to make a motion that we approve the E-rate commitment and the project at OMS at a cost of $41,783?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up, we have our K-Jump bill and discussion about the additional $900 for entrance into the lawsuit, and we do need to take action tonight.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that are going on here, all stemming from negative 19-degree temperatures in February and what that meant with our gas consumption. So if Dean clicks on the invoice there, I want to show a couple of things. Yeah, so one of the things that you can see is that the bill that we had was $106,954. The natural gas statutory rate is $4.57. We were billed about 17 some odd dollars per unit with natural gas. So as KASB and KSDE have been working with districts on this, ultimately they've identified a couple of things. One, nobody should have paid higher than $4.57 per unit, and nearly everybody is being billed more than that. So there is a lawsuit that is beginning to form, and in part, we can join that lawsuit for a fairly nominal fee of $900. And ultimately, what that may entail is that we might actually be relieved of all of the other components of the bill, as long as we pay at least the statutory rate up to this point. So you can see that the actual statutory rate for $4.57 a unit would be $24,522.62, plus the school fee, transport fuel fee, utility pass-through. So a total of $35,548.15. We would pay that bill plus an additional $900 to KASB to join this ongoing lawsuit to make sure that that would be all that we have to pay, even less if some of the things are determined that that our gas company didn't do what they were intended to do prior to this. And part of that is whether or not they had enough fuel in reserves to address these types of issues at a rate that would have been nominal in comparison to the statutory rate, so on and so forth. So a couple of things that we want to ask for tonight in terms of the board discussion is the board really has two options. Pay the bill, and we can look at the symmetry invoice if Dean wants to pull that up. And if you scroll down, you can kind of begin to see. So there's the total fee as it's broken down. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you can begin to see that there's the unit price of $17.87 versus the $4.57. So substantial increases in comparison to the statutory amount. So we can do one of two things. We can either pay the entirety of the bill at $110,000 or whatever it was, and call it good and move forward. Or we can pay the rate at $4.57, which is about $35,000 plus $900, and join this this lawsuit that is forming, and kind of wait and see how attorneys play this thing out. At the very minimum, we're out $900 because if we lose, we pay the rest of the invoice. We would have to pay it anyways. If we win, we save our district $80,000 or something to that effect. So it would make sense to me to join the lawsuit, but certainly it's a board decision to do so. Be happy to have any discussion that we might need.
Dr. Cobbs,
Julie?
thank you for, yes, Susan.
Julie, I think it's silly not to do it, not to join with the other districts, because I think obviously it was an egregious error and we shouldn't be paying that amount. So that's just my 2 cents for whatever it's worth.
Okay, thank you. Did you have a question, Lydia?
Have you heard anything, or do we already know from other business with them what the penalties are on the portion that we don't pay if we would lose?
No penalties. So under the law, as long as we pay the statutory amount, there are no penalties, and that's a piece of what K-Jump and them have been working with this group to identify, that as long as we pay the statutory maximum, that there is no legal issue coming back to us unless we lose and it's determined, and then we just pay the full amount, but no additional cost.
Not like interest or
No interest or any of those things. I did have some conversations with some other superintendents. It looks like all of the area superintendents are going down this same path, that the overall cost is about 4 times what we were typically paying. And everyone that I've spoken to at this point has indicated that their boards are also going to join in this lawsuit and try to save their district some dollars that way.
Do we have any other questions for Dr. Cobbs? All right.
It
Thank-
infuriates the living daylights out of me that utility companies have done this across the board. So I wholeheartedly think and move that we join, pay the statutory minimum or whatever, and then join the lawsuit because I think price gouging is wrong.
Yep.
So
Is there a
Absolutely.
second to that motion?
Second.
All right. All in favor of approving the K-Jump bill at $35,548.15 and the additional $900 for entrance into the lawsuit, please raise your hand. That passes 7-0. Thank you, Dr. Cobbs. Actually, you can stay right there probably, because, or is Dean coming up for this next part? You're coming back, okay. So next, we are going to take some action on boardroom technology updates, which we've received information in the past, but Dean has a exact quote for us here. And
So this is the project our student intern, Kendra Rhodes, was working on. We came with an initial idea of what we wanted to do and maybe separate the video and the audio and make 2 separate projects. These projectors are dim. They're hard to see in plain daylight here. So we added that to this project, and it's a significant cost because they are laser projectors that have no bulbs and that last forever and are super, super bright. Another change we made is to go to what's called the Dante audio network, which allows us to send everything on your desks through network cable to our mixer, and we can mix from over here. So there's been times when board members have looked at me and said, hey, I can't hear that person, or they're too loud, or sometimes Susan's computer is too loud. For us to adjust that right now, we have to run across the room. Dr. Cobbs has done it a few times, turn a microphone down and come back. This allows us to do everything from that back corner. The major expense in this, other than the projectors, is the control unit, which is a touch surface that teachers would have a button. Teachers, presenters, our staff here at the board office would have buttons, very simple, easy click buttons. I want to do this, present on both screens. Both projectors turn on, screens drop. The screens we already have, the projectors are in this. But then the audio system would get set up appropriately. We'd have a boardroom button, that would be a board meeting button, I guess. We'd have a Zoom meeting button to where it's very simple for anyone to come up here, see a touch screen, and have 4 options. As opposed to right now with the shuffle with COVID and putting the computer back here, it's a chore every single time. Josh or Amy or Ryan will come and find me and say, hey, the sound's not working, or we're getting a feedback loop. And we can eliminate all of that with this project while bringing us up to current technology for a cost that we have budgeted for.
Does this come out of capital?
This would be tech capital.
Okay.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Grow?
Are you saying you'd be able to mute me more easily?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm just trying to figure this out, Dean.
yes, I absolutely would have that power from back there.
Will there be any other upgrades other than audiovisual, electronical?
Like
Electronic.
aesthetically, or we'll have brand new speakers. All of your mics will be replaced with brand new mics. I think there's 2 of them right now that the piece just comes off, the foam, that one's one of them. And this one over here doesn't have one at all. They're the exact same mics. These are actually the best conference mics you can get. These are just old ones, and we'll get new ones. These will still work. We'll keep them as spares because like 5 of them don't have the foam ripped off. That's one of the improvements. The speakers themselves all through here will be improved. You will also get speakers above your head. And the capabilities of this system, I think we might have explained this the last time, but maybe not very well because I didn't understand it very well at the time. But the capabilities of the system will allow us to send a different audio feed to the stage, downfiring, than what's out here. So your microphones, when you talk into the microphone, you're not going to hear yourself out of those speakers because that's what introduces feedback and screeching. And if you look up now, there's no speakers for that exact reason. So this new system, you'll have your speakers above everyone here. This microphone will go to you, and the presentations or videos will go to you, but your microphones collectively, you'll hear what you hear right now out of this side of the audience. And then the audio, video, other stuff would be the control system itself. That rack over there would still exist, but it'd be more of a jump from there and then via the network back to here to the mixer and the control system, so it's still all back in this corner for anyone that needs to come in the room to present.
Any other questions for Mr. Grow?
No, I just have a comment that I think we've all figured out that I'm hard of hearing. And until I can go back to reading your lips, I really need some audio improvement. So I very much support this.
And another main thing it helps with is
Yeah,
the
is that a
virtual
motion?
individuals.
I think that was a motion.
I think that was the motion.
Yes, I'll make that a motion.
Okay. It
I
was
think
moved-
it's also important to remember that this component of our meetings is probably not going to go away. And it is a good way to reach other people, and we should do it in the most professional manner we could.
Right.
I think when we originally started in it was Hawthorne, in the Eisenhower School, we didn't know if we were going to stay here or not. So we really do need to upgrade and bring it forward, I think.
Madam President, I move to approve boardroom technology upgrades at a cost of $29,025.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 7-0.
Thank you.
On that note, I think it is important to recognize that our ability to have sound technology has allowed us to have more board members present at any time, where in the past, we'd have people trying to get in on phones and doing all sorts of things. Sometimes because they were gone, they were just going to be non-participative in the meeting. But because of what Dean has been able to do, and I think the technology in front of you has probably got to be approaching 12 years old. I think when we actually redid everything in here is when the technology came in. It really does provide us an opportunity to be holistic as a board, regardless of what's happening within our personal or professional lives that may draw us away from this Monday evening meeting, and still be able to preside and be a part of it, which I think is important overall for the benefit of the district. So thank you to Dean for being amazing at his job and continuing to keep us at the forefront of technology.
And also, it really allows us to reach our shareholders and let them view this in a way that is the most accommodating and highest level of communication that we can, which is really important as well. So, thank you. All right, moving on. We do need an executive session for negotiations. I'm going to ask my negotiating members how much time we need, 20 minutes?
20 minutes? Okay, I think so, yeah.
Okay, would somebody
Bring
like to?
would
Josh
we-
and Amy with us
Yeah,
as well.
I was going to do that. Thank you for telling me that. I move that the board go into executive session to discuss teacher negotiations pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under coma, and that the open meeting shall resume at, you want to do 7:40? Let's do 7:45. And that Mr. Robinson and Mrs. Bybee also join us, as well as Dr. Cobbs.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. That passes 7-0.
It just depends on the year.
Or you-
Yeah.
oh, good point. I'll just put this here.
All right, looks like we are arriving back. Is there a motion to resume regular session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes 7-0. We do need an executive session for personnel tonight, so if somebody would like to read the recommended action statement and include Dr. Cobb's, and I think we probably need about 10 minutes, so resume at 8 o'clock.
Madam President, I move that the board go into executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under coma for the purpose of evaluating the superintendent. Is this it? And that the open meeting shall resume.
No, it's not for the purpose of
No, I
evaluating.
was gonna say
It's just
this is
pursuant
not.
to personnel matters pursuant to non-elected personnel.
Okay. And the meeting shall resume at 8 o'clock in the boardroom. And, pardon? And that Dr. Cobb's and Mrs. Bybee and Mr. Robinson also be part of this meeting.
So move. Second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
If you're just going to so
That
move, I
passes
should have
7-0.
went and read the whole darn thing.
Fancy.
Rough at 6 in the morning.
Well, it's windy here. Oh, my.
Oh.
You're fine. I'm going this way.
All right, welcome back. We have come back from executive session. Is there someone that would like to make a motion that we return to regular session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Or raise your hand. Thank you. 7-0, that passes. You all have been presented a personnel report. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve said report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. That passes 7-0 as well. We are down to announcements.
All right, so I put a bunch of stuff on here because I thought it might be nice for you to have all of the things coming up here in one spot. So you can always come back here and look at it. But a couple of things. Spring play is coming May 7th, 8th, and 9th. At those times, senior art show, band spring concert, variety show, theater showcase, seniors last day, 8th grade promotion, graduation, senior awards night, 5th grade promotions. All of those things are coming. And there's certainly a lot of activity as we go through. But those are really the announcements. The other one is we had an opportunity to meet with Governor Kelly today and have some great conversations with Governor Kelly at Olpe High School, in which she talked about her love and passion for public education across the state of Kansas. You can probably see that by the number of vetoes that she had here in the last few days against bills that she did not believe were positive for public education. But it is an interesting conversation to be had about the things that are going on. And certainly we're living in a very fluid environment in terms of what's going to happen with public education. But it was certainly an honor to be able to sit down with Governor Kelly today and be a part of that conversation, and look forward to being able to do it again. So that's what I've got.
All right, thank you, Dr. Cobbs. Is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Is there a
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. That passes 7-0. Meeting adjourned.